There's a moment in every animation project where everything looks worse before it looks better. The drawings are rougher than the blockout, the onion skin is a chaotic rainbow of overlapping lines, and you start quietly wondering if you've lost the plot entirely. This is that moment. And paradoxically, this is also where Tom starts to feel real. Not because the drawings are good yet, because the weight is finally starting to arrive. We've completed the key pose replacements up to the strut. Today we're finishing them, the rest of the strut, the weight shift, and the guilty exit at the end. And I want to talk about a few things I noticed along the way that I think you'll find as interesting as I did. While I'm working on these poses, let me tell you something about where this character actually came from. Because it's a better story than most people know. It's a common misconception that Tom and Jerry were an instant studio priority. In 1940, William Hanna and Joseph Barbera were essentially a last ditch effort to save MGM's struggling animation department. Their first short, Puss Gets the Boot, was actually met with genuine hostility from their boss, Fred Quimby. He told them to stop making cat and mouse cartoons because they were too cliche. His exact words reportedly were that nobody wanted to see this kind of thing. It was only an Oscar nomination and the kind of box office response you can't argue with that forced the studio to realize they had something. Quimby reversed course completely, and between 1940 and 1958, the studio didn't just survive, it won 7 Academy Awards. Fred Quimby collected them all. His name is on everyone. I think about that when I'm sitting here drawing Tom frame by frame. The people who made this weren't celebrated while they were making it, they were tolerated. The work survived because it was undeniably good, not because anyone in charge believed in it from the start. There's something quietly encouraging about that. A key takeaway from the strut cycle is the way Tom's hips move before his feet. That's not an accident. In high level character animation, the pelvis is the engine. Everything else follows from it. If the feet move first, the character looks like a puppet being pulled by strings. There's no sense of internal decision making. The movement exists, but there's nobody home. But when the weight shifts in the hips first, when the pelvis commits to a direction before the legs have even responded, the character looks like they are choosing to move. They look like a thinking thing. That infinitesimal gap between intent and action, that tiny delay, that's what separates a drawing that moves from a character who lives. It's something you can't fully understand by watching it. You start to feel it only when you're drawing it. When you have to make the decision yourself about which part of the body moves first and in what order the rest follows, that's what this kind of study does that no tutorial can replicate. You absorb the decision, not just the result. Watch what guilt does to a body, as Tom tries to look inconspicuous in this final sequence. As he attempts the world's least convincing casual exit, his entire posture changes. His spine elongates, his neck pulls inwards. He's physically trying to occupy less space in the world, as though if he makes himself small enough, nothing will notice him leaving. The masters understood something that actors spend years learning. Emotion isn't something you express with your face, it lives in the whole body, right down to how much room you allow yourself to take up. A confident character spreads, and a shamed character contracts. It's that simple and that profound. This brings me to one of the foundational tests in character animation, acting through silhouette. If you blacked out this entire drawing right now, you should still be able to tell exactly what Tom is thinking just by his outline. The shape of the character should communicate the emotion before a single detail is visible. Look at that outline. Even in this rough state, with the onion skin still showing, the story is readable. He got away with something, he knows it, and now he's getting out of here before anyone notices. That's not just good drawing, that's good writing, expressed entirely through movement. As I was drawing this final sequence, Tom making that specific wide-eyed exit, that expression that says, I'm absolutely not doing anything wrong, and I'm definitely not up to anything silly, I couldn't help but think of my older brother. Growing up, there were three of us. Our parents would head out to a wedding and give us the standard instructions, stay home and study. My dad was clever, or so he thought, and would hide our SEGA console somewhere he was convinced we'd never look. Of course, we always knew exactly where it was. We always did. The moment the front door clicked shut, my brother would have that exact same Tom expression. The eyes, he has big eyes. The posture, the barely contained delight at what was about to happen. He'd bolt across the room to grab the books, just in case my parents are watching this. That's the key poses done. every single one replaced. Tom is fully himself now across the whole sequence. The peep, the landing, the fourth wall moment, the strut, the laugh, the guilty exit. Next episode, the in-betweens. This is where we will fill out the gaps and smooth out the animation. If you want to follow this before the YouTube schedule catches up, early access, ad-free with the project files, the Patreon link is in description, everything is there. See you in part 4.